So he takes the R off, thriller, thriller, and he kind of adds like a shadow vowel and consonant, thriller. My friends, my Geratones, welcome back to another vocal breakdown, vocal analysis video. And this has been super long overdue. Oh my gosh, very long overdue. The other day I asked you guys in the community tab, you know, which version of this song you guys wanted me to analyze and kind of talk about. And as you guys were talking, we were thinking like, I guess the acapella version would make a lot of sense. And so I kind of scrounged up and found different parts of the acapella version of this song so we can kind of dissect some of the vocals that he's doing. So I got some stacking stuff, I got some lead vocal, I got some background vocal, but this is going to be the acapella version of Thriller, okay? So it's going to be all acapella, no music, just vocals, okay? But y'all, let's get into this thing. I'm excited to do it, y'all. Let's do it.
It's close to midnight, something evil's lurking in the dark.
Did you hear the end of that dark? It was dark with the little shadow vowel. It was like a sung shadow vowel. Dark. You know, it's kind of like that. So there was like a schwa or a shadow vowel, an added sound at the end of the K of dark. And the R was kind of lesser than dark too. It wasn't dark. No, it was dark. There's kind of a little nasality in there now that I'm doing it. Dark. Dark. So it's not dark. No, dark. He almost kind of opens up the vowel and he replaces the R with like a diphthong. Dark. And he fades off into like that more breathy dark. You see what I'm saying?
Under the moonlight.
Under the moon. Grit, growl, a little grit, a little color there. Under.
You see a sight that almost stops your heart.
Hard. So it's not heart. It's hard. It's almost like an N quick D shadow vowel. Hard. And he did the same color on the hard, the R of heart, like he did dark. Hard. And he kind of shoots out that shadow vowel with a little abruption, if you will.
You try to scream, but terror takes the sound before you make it.
So he replaces T's with D's, or like super quick D's, and R's with kind of diphthongy type moves. But you hear how percussive his rhythm is in his articulation. But terror takes the sound before you make it. You see how it's everything's kind of punch. But terror takes the sound before you make it. Kind of like that. I can't do it quite like him, but you see how punch, you can hear how punched the consonants are. There's a lot of pressure, intentional pressure, but then the consonants. But terror takes the sound before you make it.
You start to freeze, and so it looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed.
You're paralyzed. So he uses a lot of breathy, aspirate tones, as well as like gritty, compressed tones. You see what I'm saying? He does a lot of that here. He's really moving a lot of parts, a lot of anatomy in his vocal track, because he's kind of letting the air pass through the vocal folds at first. And then he's kind of bringing them closer together and kind of giving some pressure behind it. But then he lets the air pass through again. But he kind of brings that, but kind of has the air back in there too. He does a lot of that interchanging of those two colors, mainly, among other things. But those two colors are mainly happening in this verse here.
Cause this is
Cause this is Thriller. So instead of Thriller, so he takes the R off, Thriller, Thriller, and he kind of adds like a shadow vowel and consonant, Thriller. So it's kind of like that Michael Jackson sound, that super quick abrupt D with the shadow vowel, Thriller, Thriller night. So everything is Thriller, Thriller, wide, lateral, horizontal, Thriller.
and no one's gonna save you from the beast about to strike. You know it's their love.
And you notice the consonants aren't super hard here. Though they're rhythmic, they're not hard. It's almost like they're all sung. Though all the consonants aren't sung, but it almost feels like every consonant is a voice consonant in this context because they're so smooth and kind of lighter. So the voice is continuing to vibrate through the consonants. So it sounds like the consonants are sung. Even the unvoiced consonants are voiced, if you will. If that makes sense.
Thriller night, you're fighting for your life and inside of Killer Thriller tonight.
And did you hear Thriller night, Thriller night? So you kind of choose the vowels a little bit as he does Thriller night. A chew action. Thriller night.
Yeah. Ooh, ooh. You hear the door slam and realize there's nowhere left to run.
Run. There he sung to the N consonant. Run. With the shout of out the end.
You feel the cold hand.
Cold. Instead of cold, it's cold. You feel the cold. It sounds like a puckered cold. You feel the cold hand. And it's almost like everything was kind of more puckered and cold hand. Kind of like that. That's what it sounds like to me.
I wonder if you ever see the sun. You close your eyes and hope that this is just imagination. Girl, but all the while,
there he sung through each part of that diphthong, each part of those phonemes. All through the while, he got through each part of that word while.
You hear a creature creeping up behind. You're out of time.
Now you see when he does that when he does that bridge between each verse, it stays kind of more breathy and a little gritty, but then he builds up to the chorus that every time he does that lick, depending on the words, first verse or second verse, it gets way more compressed, way more gritty and stronger vocally, or more intense vocally, I'll say. So there is definitely a math or a pattern to how he's singing this. You can hear the consistency in his vocal delivery in the a cappella version of this, which is really cool to hear.
Cause this is Thriller night. There ain't no second chance against the thing with the 40 eyes, girl. Woo-hoo.
Girl, he sung to that L right there. Girl, really, girl.
You're fighting for your life inside of Killer Thriller. Night creatures calling, the dead start to walk in the masquerade.
Do you hear how much energy he's putting into this lead vocal in this bridge? On a masquerade. I'm really giving a lot of compression in here, and I'm really giving a lot of air pressure. On the masquerade.
There's no escaping the jaws of the alien this time. This is the end of your life. Ooh. They're out to get you. As demons closing in on every side.
Now you see here, he's back to that more breathy grit. To get you. Again, that's that pattern, that vocal delivery pattern I keep talking about. He's here, he's back to that breathy sound after the masquerade. But when he comes back to this third verse, to get you, it's an aspirate, little more antsy sound he has here.
They will possess you unless you change that number on your dial.
Dial instead of dial. Dial. He kind of added a little diphthong. Dial. And he kind of gets you that L and sings through all of those phonemes right there too.
And now is the time for you and I to cuddle close together.
You and I and go to glow together. You see how soft those consonants were as opposed to like that masquerade. You see how softer these consonants are. So he's even giving different levels of pressure to the consonant friction of his articulation. You know, depending on what he's trying to do, where he's trying to go with the song or how he's trying to sing it, he's giving different levels of articulatory pressure, if you will. Not just vocal line pressure, but articulatory friction pressure, if you will. You hear it. Right there is a little bit more soft, a little bit more seamless, but before it was masquerade.
Yeah. All through the night, I'll save you from the terror on the screen. I'll make you see that this is Thriller night, 'cause I can tell you more than any ghost would ever dare try.
It's interesting because when I hear thriller here, it almost sounds like thriller because the TH is so hard and abrupt. Thriller instead of thriller. thriller. You see what I'm saying? When I add the punch to that TH, it gets thriller instead of thriller, thriller, thriller.
So let me hold you tight and share up, thriller, thriller, ow, ow, 'cause this is thriller, thriller night. Girl, I can feel you more than any ghost would have dared try. Woo-hoo.
So that whoo-hoo has kind of like a whoo puff of air before both. Whoo-hoo, yeah, whoo-hoo, in that heady, domey sound, the woo really resonant sound. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo, like a little aspirate stop before each one.
So let me hold you tight and share up, thriller, thriller, ow! I'm gonna throw you tonight. I'm gonna throw you tonight. I'm gonna throw you tonight. Thriller, ooh baby, thriller. Gonna throw you tonight. Thriller, oh darling, oh baby. I'm gonna throw you tonight.
I kind of like this canon, like this fugue thing happening here. I'm gonna throw you tonight, thriller. I'm gonna throw you tonight. I'm gonna throw you tonight, thriller, thriller. Yeah, all these layers of his lead vocal happening right here. I like that. And it's I'm gonna throw you tonight, and he backs off to more like a breathy type sound as he kind of does like a decrescendo or like a get quieter moment. I'm gonna throw you tonight when he goes up to the night. I'm gonna throw you tonight. I'm gonna throw you tonight. Kind of like that. And then thriller, thriller, but it's thriller, not thriller. Thriller, thriller, thriller. Everything's wider. Thriller. The R is gone. Thriller, thriller. And it's almost like instead of thriller, it's thriller, 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 thriller. I'm gonna throw you tonight. Thriller. Yeah.
Ooh, baby. Thriller night. I'm gonna throw you tonight. Thriller. Oh, darling. Oh, baby.
Oh, babe. Those really had really hard glottal onsets. He's good for those glottal hard onsets.
Thriller night, baby. Ooh. You start to freeze. You start to freeze. You start to freeze.
Do you hear the little grit on you start to? And then freeze is free. You start to freeze. You start to freeze. So it's not you start to freeze or you start to freeze. No, it's you start to freeze. Compression, compression, smooth.
You start to freeze. You start to freeze. As someone looks you right between the eyes. Thriller, thriller night.
You hear that T on night? I want you to notice that T, but then listen to the T when the other parts come in and listen to how different the T is between each vocal part, okay? That T was strong on night, but listen to the other T's as they come in, okay?
Thriller, thriller night. Thriller, thriller night.
Now, I want to say something about the soprano part real quick. The soprano part here was more heady, thriller, but alto and tenor was more thicker, thriller and thriller, okay? So he's using different registers in this part too, but that soprano was really heady and a little bit breathy, thriller, thriller night, okay?
It's the thriller, thriller night. And no one's gonna save you from the beat.
Now, did you notice the T's? I want to come back to that. The T sounds on night. The bottom tenor line was strong, night. But the other two was kind of more chill. Thriller night. It wasn't as hard.
But all the while,
They're all breathy here. But all the while, with that diphthong and all those phonemes being sung through, but it's breathy. But all the while. Okay, and it's straight. No, there's no vibrato. No vibrato.
but all the while, they're open wide. They're open wide.
This part, again, it's a little bit more open, a little bit more long. They're open wide. Instead of they're open, no, they're open. It's almost like he lets go of the diphthong of the open. Instead of oh, it's open, open. They're open wide. It's a subtle difference, but these little tiny details really make or break the cohesion and the intentionality of a song of BGVs. So being this picky is needed. You see the result of being this picky for this song. It is a classic song, you know, but nevertheless, he was so intentional about how he was shaping everything. That's why all the backgrounds sound so good together. That's why the lead vocal sounds so good together, because everything is so super duper intentional with the execution of his vocals, you know?
They're open wide. They're open wide. They're open wide.
Come on, Suspicion. Why? I love those little subtle moves that you may not pick up on when the music's going, but this is very musical. All of these different cluster chords, it is very musical.
Tonight.
Do you hear the consonants in the phonemes? Kela, trela, kela. You see it's kela, trela. It's softer consonants in more longer vowels. Kela, trela. That's what I was saying before. Instead of killa, it's kela, kela, trela, chela, trela. And the consonants are kind of dampened in a way. In a way, yeah.
Kela, dela, chela, bella, here tonight. They're up. Kela, dela, chela, bella, here tonight. Bella, you try to scream, you start to freeze.
You hear that freeze? That freeze, the S-E or the Z-E, if you will, was so sharp. Freeze. Again, those hard consonants, even in the stacking of the BGVs, and they end at the same time. You start to freeze. Now here is softer. The consonants aren't as hard. Thriller, thriller night. So that night, he went to the second part of the diphthong. All of the parts did, and he really sung to the second part more than the first part of the diphthong. Diphthong is I-E, night, night. So instead of thriller night, thriller night, and everything's kind of breathy and straight. Thriller night. It's not thriller night. No, it's light. It's kind of heady. It's breathy and it's easy. Thriller night. And that kind of combats the hard lead vocal, the hard consonant, the hard articulatory, the hard phoneme, you know, hard consonant lead vocal that Michael gives. It gives a little bit of a balance and a little bit of a contrast to his hard lead vocal, these more softer melodic BGVs. Thriller. You hear that throw? Thriller. They all do it. Thriller.
Thriller night. You close your eyes, but all the while
they all did a diphthong change at the same time. On eyes, in while. You close your eyes, and all the while they move at the same time, so the backgrounds can be even more cohesive.
ooh, baby.
Ooh, babe. That baby right there almost sound like vave, like vave. Almost like a V instead of a B. V and B are related phonetically, if you will. So you can make V sound like B and B sound like V, you know, depending on how you do it, you know, in a nutshell. There's more to it than that, but the phonemes B and V are related phonetically in articulatory production. So that's how they're related, you know, so they can sound so much alike, you know, because they're kind of neighbors or cousins, if you will, phonetically. thriller, thriller. It's so much more precise and simple in articulation. You know, Michael is giving the hard lead vocal and all the little nuances and the colors. They're saying light there, as in it's more than one person. It's all Michael. But nevertheless, the background vocals are saying light, killer, thriller, and it's more precise and simple in execution. Killer, thriller, tonight.
They're open wide.
They're up. It's almost choral. They're open wide. But even that diphthong was timed on the wide. Wide. I may have got the time wrong, but you see what I'm saying? They're open. And that they're open. All those words, those phonemes, the consonants. They're open wide.
Now is the time. All through the night.
All through the night, at the time. That was quick. Da, 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 da. That's separated and quick. Da, 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 da. Before you get to the long da, everything is separated. Do, 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 do. Then it's smooth. See what I'm saying? Da, 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 da.
Killer, Della, Jella, Della, here tonight.
You can hear him change registers or change vocal fold mass. Killer, filler, killer, tilla, tonight. You can kind of hear the upper parts changing registers. If you listen close, you can hear the vocal change, the color change in the voice as he's going up.
Thriller, thriller night. Killer, thriller.
Killer, thriller. Instead of killer, no. Killer, thriller, killer, killer, killer. It's not kill, kel. It's almost like K-E-L-L. U-H, Kella, or K-E-L-L-A-H, Kella, thriller, thriller. It's not a thrill, it's thrill, thriller, Kella. You see what I'm saying? So the vowel is kind of more open in the BGVs. He was saying thriller in the lead, but the BGVs are thrill, thriller, Kella, thriller. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed watching it with y'all. This is so fun. And as I will forever say to you, be vocally bold, creative, and aware, but most of all, be vocally you. I love you so much. I'll see you soon.